Well, good afternoon. Obviously a very exciting day for us and for our team. I remember when I took over as Minority Leader 4 years ago, and we set out on a what was a big task at that time to win the majority back. And we not only wanted to win a majority, but we wanted to make it a sustainable majority. And we really feel that voters spoke very loud and very clear yesterday that they want a check and balance on Governor Dayton's final 2 years in office. We not only retained our majority, we actually grew our majority, and we did it with what I think you will find out are going to be phenomenal members of the legislature. We're really excited about the people that are going to be joining us. This is the first time in more than a decade that the House Republicans have successfully defended a majority. And at 76 members, this is the largest majority ever secured by Republicans during a presidential year, or after a presidential year. So a very historic win for us in the House. I think it's important to note what voters did was they chose, sorry, I'll fix it, maybe. Voters chose compromise last night instead of giving one-party control to Governor Dayton and the Democrats, and they spoke very clearly. We found that MNsure and Obamacare was probably the biggest issue in this campaign, and we found out that it's hurting folks, incredibly. And what they want are solutions. They want to go back to what we had, which was affordable health coverage, where they could choose their doctor and have access to the hospital and clinic that they wanted. Those are going to be important priorities for us to fix during this next two-year period. So. We also have really great candidates who worked incredibly hard, and we had the right message. We talked about reducing healthcare costs, about growing our economy and creating jobs, and those are things that resonated with Minnesotans. Trump obviously was helpful to us, but I think it's important to note that our candidates outperformed Trump. In fact, we won in districts in the suburbs where Trump lost by almost 20%. We think that's because of the work that our candidates did and because of the work we did over the last 2 years in the legislature. And it's really important. I know that 2 years ago, Democrats said that we were going to be a rural majority. We actually picked up 4 seats in the metro last night, and we're really proud of that fact. So we're going to have a great caucus, a diverse caucus, and a really talented caucus. So we're really excited about the folks that we've got here. I want to highlight a few of them who are here with us. Number one, actually, let me run through the whole list, and 4 of them are here. I'll talk about those, or excuse me, 5 of them are here. Matt Grossel won in Hancock's open seat. That was a district that was really targeted heavily. Matt Bliss defeated Representative John Purcell in the Bemidji area. Sandy Lehman, former commissioner of the IRRB, defeated Representative Tom Anzels. She'll be a fantastic member of the legislature. Barb Haley, really talented healthcare expert, won down in the Red Wing seat to retain the Tim Kelly seat. Nolan West obviously won in the open Sanders seat to retain that seat for us. And then the 5 who are here joining us, Randy Jessup defeated Barbie Russo in the North Metro. Randy's here. Congratulations and welcome aboard, Randy. Dario Anselmo defeated Ron Earhart in Edina. Will be a fantastic member of the caucus. He's here as well, right in the middle. Regina Barr, fantastic member. I'm not sure that Democrats knew this was going to be on their radar. And the next one is the same, but Regina Barr won Atkins open seat in the South Metro, and she's incredibly talented. We're excited about her. Keith Franke won in Dan Schoen's open seat right next door. Small business owner and a mayor, really talented guy. We're excited to have him on the team. And then Tony Juergens won in McNamara's open seat right here. So we're really excited about the team that we've got. We're excited about the opportunities. We look forward to working with Governor Dayton over the next 2 years, but we also know that Minnesotans spoke very loud and clear last night, and they rejected the policies of Barack Obama and Governor Mark Dayton, and they want a new direction, and specifically we think on the health care. So we're going to make that a big priority over the next couple of years, and I'll let Joyce say a few things as well.
Yeah, I just want to thank Minnesotans for giving us a chance to lead the state and the House of Representatives for 2 more years. It was a historic election in so many ways. One of the ways is how many women are serving. 48 women legislators in the House of Representatives. We have 3 new pickups that are here today, or 2 of them are here today. So we're very excited about that. And I would just emphasize what the Speaker said on the campaign trail. We heard time and time again that MNsure has been such a disaster for people. People have not been able to get health care. Rising cost of health care has been the #1 issue that we've heard from. So we know we need to get to work on that and work with the governor to try to fix the problem. And even though we weren't there and we didn't support it initially, we know we do have to help solve the problem for the people that have been stuck in the system. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to go forward. We're going to listen to the concerns of people. We're going to seek solutions. We're going to work bipartisanly to get this done with Governor Dayton and with the Democrats. And we'll continue to listen for Minnesotans. So thank you, Minnesotans. We're thrilled to be here. And we have some really great new representatives to represent you in the legislature, all with a lot of experience and all who are here to move the state forward. So thank you. We're happy to take questions as well.
Yep. Mr. Speaker, how does your approach and your priorities change looking at a likely Republican Senate?
You know, that was certainly a great news as well last night. The Republicans took the majority in the state Senate by 1 vote. Really a great opportunity for them to, show leadership in that chamber, and we look forward to working with them on the same issues that we've talked about. I don't know that last night's election or the results are going to change the things that we work on and that we talk about. We're going to talk about the things that we did when we were out talking to voters and the things that we've talked about for the last 2 years. We're going to talk about making health care affordable for Minnesotans again and providing more access and better choices. We're going to talk about and push policies that will grow Minnesota's economy and create jobs and really help Minnesotans. And I think that folks really nationwide should be paying attention to what message the voters were trying to send last night. We heard it loud and clear. It's the things that we've been talking about for the last couple of years, and we're looking forward to the fact that having the Senate and the majority will give us a better opportunity to work on those things. And my hope is that Governor Dayton understands that the voters did reject MNsure last night. They did reject Obamacare, and they want affordable health coverage that will provide them with more choices and more access, just exactly what the Democrats promised, and then let Minnesotans down on. So, as I said, I have a good relationship with the governor. We look forward to working with him, but we're going to change direction. We're going to listen to what Minnesotans wanted.
Last time we had this scenario, DFL governor, Republican legislature, we had the longest government shutdown in state history.
Well, I think folks need to pay attention to what happened yesterday and pay attention to what Governor Dayton said today. Governor Dayton told us over the recent months that he supported the tax bill and he wanted to pass that in a special session. Today he's saying he wouldn't include the tax bill in a special session. Governor Dayton is going to be held accountable to the words and the promises and the commitments that he has made to Minnesotans. And that's my commitment. If there's one thing that needs to be good in St. Paul, it's your word. And I'm going to hold Governor Dayton accountable to the things that he has said to Minnesotans. You either support tax relief or you don't. We have a surplus in the state of Minnesota, and there are folks, and I can tell you heart-wrenching stories of folks who have told me that their tax liabilities have increased. Retired folks that because we didn't do federal conformity and conforming with the federal government's tax policies. I mean, things that we just automatically do. My hope is, and I listened very closely to what the governor said this morning. What I heard is the first things out of his mouth are, these are the things that I'm going to block as governor now. Minnesotans spoke loud and clear last night, and I hope the governor was listening, because I was listening to what the governor has said, and I am going to hold him accountable to what he said. No.
Speaker Daudt,
and if you do, it's going to be pretty obvious who caused it, and I don't think the governor's willing to do that. I think the governor has been decent for us to work with, and as long as he's reasonable, we're going to have a very good functioning state government that's going to get some good things done for Minnesotans.
Speaker Daudt, with the new dynamics now with the House and Senate, what's the likelihood there will be a special session to deal with the individual health insurance?
That's a good question. Obviously, it's the current legislature that will deal with that if we do a special session. I have not spoken with the governor yet. I hope to do that over the next day or two to see what his intentions are. My hope is that we can not only work on the relief on premium relief for MNsure, but also passed the tax bill that got left on the sidelines, and potentially even the bonding bill. Those were things that had been agreed to that, frankly, Democrats blocked because they were afraid it was going to give us a political advantage. I'm really glad to see that Minnesotans saw through that. I think Minnesotans were really confused when it was MNsure that was the reason we weren't having a special session, and then all of a sudden, or excuse me, not MNsure, Southwest Light Rail was the reason we weren't having a special session, and then all of a sudden Southwest Light Rail got funded, and the other things got left by the wayside. But yet Governor Dayton said he supported those other things. And that's why I say I'm going to hold Governor Dayton accountable to his words.
Speaking of Southwest Light Rail, will there be any effort to stop that in its tracks?
Well, we haven't had those conversations internally yet, but we still believe that the law says that the state of Minnesota needs to provide some of the funding, and the state of Minnesota needs to approve that capital project. That has not happened, and we don't think that the project should proceed until the legislature has transparent public hearings and approves the funding at the legislative level.
So there may be some delays.
And until the lawsuits are resolved.
So there may be some delays if...
I would imagine. But I think Minnesotans want us to go through a thorough, thoughtful, transparent process, and that did not happen. The governor and his administration have figured out a way to do this without transparency and without that open, thoughtful process.
Did voters send a message on Southwest Rail, though, kicking out Senator Han?
I don't know. I will say, Senator Han has been a great partner to work with as the leader of the Senate caucus. He and I have served as leaders of our respective caucuses together for the last 4 years, and it sure has been a pleasure to work with him, and I thank him for his service to the state. He's a really good guy, a good-hearted guy, and nobody likes to leave on somebody else's terms, but his service to the state should be applauded.
A good Republican night he lost in this district.
And
do you think?
I don't know. I haven't had a chance to really look into it, and I haven't had a chance to talk to Senator Han, but we'll certainly look at that. Yeah.
Mr. Speaker, any regrets about distancing yourself from Donald Trump like many Republicans did in the last month, now that you know what you know?
I'm glad that Donald Trump won last night. I think that he tapped into something in the country that we have felt here in the state of Minnesota for the last couple of years. Americans and Minnesotans have not been happy with politics as usual. They're frustrated that politicians put themselves first. I probably should have turned this press conference so you could have seen the Senate office building in the background. That exemplifies what people are frustrated with. The fact that when Democrats had complete control of state government, it was MNsure that hurt Minnesota families, and a palace that we've built for politicians in St. Paul. That exemplifies what's wrong and how out of touch Democrats are with Americans and with Minnesotans right now. Trump tapped into that, and he's right. So did we. Do I regret? I supported Trump. I voted for him. I'm happy that he won. But I also know that had I said that publicly a month ago, it would have meant $1 million of spending into these members' districts, trying to tie them to Trump. And I've got people here that got to talk about issues in their district, like Dario Anselmo, who is going to be a new member of the legislature, but Trump lost his district by, I think, 19 percentage points. So it's not fair to Dario to be tied to Trump. Dario wants to come here and work on issues that he cares about and his community cares about. So I knew how the game in St. Paul works, and I knew that if I said something favorable about Trump, that they were going to punish these people with that sort of a comment. So I think Trump's going to stand on his own, and our majority here is going to stand on our own. And we stand on our record of the last 2 years and our accomplishment, and the fact that we had a better vision and better ideas for what Minnesota should expect going forward.
Speaker?
How are you going to fix MNsure?
Well, obviously we're going to have to, on the short term, provide some sort of premium relief. I'm not sure exactly what that looks like. We're going to have to work with the governor to do that, and it's obviously the current legislature that's going to have to work on that if we do it in a special session. That's the short term. The long term is we need to start dismantling it and moving away from MNsure. I know Democrats are saying, and the governor has said, that MNsure is not the problem. The Affordable Care Act is no longer affordable for Minnesotans. He said it himself. MNsure is the Affordable Care Act. MNsure has cost Minnesotans $400 million and provided nothing. It's a website that doesn't work, that's caused frustration. And all the $400 million has bought is a level of bureaucracy that really hasn't provided health care or health insurance to one single Minnesotan. All it's done is provided salaries to bureaucrats in St. Paul. What we need to do is start putting Minnesotans first, and we'll find a solution long-term that will help them. I think the real answer, if you want me to get in the weeds quickly, is we've got to get the high-risk people out of the individual marketplace and go back to something similar to the comprehensive health association that we had before to take care of those high-risk people and provide some stability to that individual marketplace. And I don't think anybody, regardless of partisan stripes, can say that that's not the approach we should take. I mean, it's pretty obvious that was the fatal flaw in Obamacare and in MNsure.
Do you need to do that in the special session?
I don't know if we can do it that quickly. What I'm told is by the providers that there's nothing that we can do to affect or impact insurance on January 1st of 2017. And I will say very clearly that I blame Governor Dayton and his administration for that. The fact that Minnesotans are not going to have access to their doctors, the fact that they are not going to have... I'll stop for a second.
We can fill in the blank.
Well, sorry about that. I thought you all might like the sunshine today better, but I know that the road causes some noise problems once in a while. I will say that the fact that Minnesotans are still dealing with MNsure and are not going to have access to their doctors and their clinics, I blame Governor Dayton for that 100%. They knew back in April or May of this last year that there was going to be a problem, that we were going to have providers dropping out of the individual marketplace, and they failed to tell us and failed to alert Minnesotans that this was going to be a problem. And now we've found out from the providers that there's nothing that we can do to impact the products that are offered in the individual marketplace on January 1st of 2017. And that is 100% Governor Dayton's fault for not alerting us earlier when we actually could have solved that problem. So we're going to do everything we can to fix it as soon as we can, and we hope Minnesotans can live with what the current situation is for a short time until we can get them some help.
I don't want to assume, but are you running for Speaker again?
I am running for Speaker, and Joyce is going to be seeking the Majority Leader position. We assume that will be uncontested, but we'll have that conversation with our caucuses.
And when is that?
We will do that on Friday morning. Yeah, which is our normal time. Oh my goodness. You know what? I have been solely focused on my team, the team behind me, our team in the House, our candidates, and making sure that we held the Minnesota House. We also need to focus on providing some help and a safety net for Minnesotans who are affected by MNsure, and we need to get through the next session. And at some point, I'll probably look at that, but that day isn't today.
Are there any takeaways or lessons that you carry from 2011, 12, and that election into 2017 with this Republican majority?
I don't know. That's any takeaways from 2012. Why this might be different than 2012?
Why this might be different, or lessons that you learned that you carry into your 2017 agenda?
I don't know. I think it was great for us last night to get an affirmation that the things that we've talked about and the issues that we've talked to Minnesotans about resonated with voters. And I think we have a clear mandate that that's the direction that Minnesotans want to see the state go. So we're going to work on and talk about the things that we have for the last couple of years: growing the economy, providing that health coverage that folks can afford, that provides the access and the choice they want, growing the economy, creating jobs, providing some tax relief to Minnesotans to give them some help. We obviously have a surplus. We think Minnesotans would appreciate sharing in that surplus. They're the ones who provided it. It's really up to them. So those are things we're going to work on, and we feel really great that message resonated with voters to the point that they not only believed in what we were saying and doing, but that they did it so resoundingly, and that we increased our majority in a presidential year, which no one thought was possible.
And I would just add, one of the things that I took away from that was you really have to listen to the voters. You have to listen to Minnesotans and what they want. And we think we've done a really good job. We've spent hours and hours hitting doors, and boots to the ground is why we really won. The Democrats outspent us 4-1 probably, but our candidates were out hitting doors and listening to voters, and that's what people want to be heard. They want to make sure their issues are addressed, and so we're committed to continuing to listen to the voters of Minnesota and the direction that they want to go, and we will always be open to discussing any solutions that they have.
So given the results, is your priority serving Greater Minnesota? We talked
No.
about this in previous years.
You know, it was actually fun. We picked up 2 seats in Greater Minnesota last night, but we picked up 4 seats in the Metro, which we think is great. We said 2 years ago when we took the majority that we were going to be a majority that represented all of Minnesota. We meant it when we said it then, and we will repeat and mean the same thing now. Our House Republican majority is going to be a majority that doesn't divide Minnesota on economic lines or on racial lines or on geographic lines. We're going to be a House majority that serves and makes a better Minnesota for all Minnesotans. And I think if I were to give one bit of advice to the Democrats on why they may have lost this, their politics, and I'm not sure they see it, their politics are divisive. They pit one group of people against another in an effort to try to gain some advantage. And frankly, I think that's exactly what Donald Trump tapped into last night. He is somebody that wants to improve the economic conditions for all Americans. And we feel exactly the same way about creating a better, thriving, growing economy for all Minnesotans.
Might you wait to see what the Trump administration does on health care before?
You know, it's a very good question, and folks, you know, obviously Republicans have complete control of the federal government now, and one of the biggest issues that folks have talked about was putting something in place of Obamacare that works, that will actually reduce healthcare costs and provide the choice and access that people need. I think that will be their priority number one. That will impact what we can do here. Obviously, we are under requirement by the federal government to have an exchange or to be in the federal exchange. If the federal government can clip some of those strings, we can go back to having the best health care and health coverage in the country. That's what we had before, and that's what this Republican majority and hopefully our colleagues in Washington are going to give us the opportunity to do again. We're going to help make Minnesota number one in health care in the country. That's what we want. Anything else? You want to hear from some of our candidates? Some of our new members here? Regina?
Oh my gosh.
Tell them a
Hi.
little about yourself.
Well, I'm
Not to put you on the spot.
put me on the spot anyway. I'm Regina Barr, and I live in Inver Grove Heights. I'm a resident for 18 years. I'm a first-time candidate and will be a first-time representative. I'm very excited to represent the people in my community. I would go back to what Joyce said. I had a great team of people working with me, going door to door, asking lots of questions, and then as a consultant, I learned the biggest thing is to listen. And that's what I did, and I really made an effort to get out and connect with the people in my community and make sure that they felt heard about the issues. And the issues are what we've heard already today from both the Speaker and the Majority Leader, which is healthcare, 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 and then secondarily, roads. In my community, we have some bad roads where you probably could do well to wear a helmet, but so I've had a great experience, and I'm really looking forward to taking to heart what I heard from people. I had one couple, 60 years old. It was rather heartbreaking for me. They sent me a donation with a beautiful letter saying that they could no longer afford health care, but they were sending me a donation because they just really felt they needed to have someone like me representing them in the House, and that's what I plan to do. So, thank you.
Was that by far the number one issue you heard about?
At the door, initially, yes, but the focus early on in my campaign was a little bit different. The last several weeks, it's all been healthcare, healthcare, healthcare. I mean, people are hurting, and it's really, as a first-time candidate and a newly elected representative, it was really heartbreaking for me to hear some of the stories and how people are going to do without, and they understand the consequences of that they are potentially facing a catastrophic health illness without having health care coverage, which they know could lead to things like medical bankruptcy. So, you know, as someone who has a big heart and cares about people, that was really hard for me to hear, and is something that I will make sure that I work hard to resolve for them. So, thank you.
Randy?
Good afternoon. My name is Randy Jessup, and the area that I will be representing is Shoreview, Arden Hills, and Moundsview. I'm a small business owner. I run some UPS stores. I have one in St. Paul, a couple in Minneapolis, and then one up in Roseville. And I would have to echo what we just heard. Healthcare has become a very big issue, talking to people at the door over the last 3 to 4 weeks. I want to say it was last Saturday, I actually had a reporter from the Star Tribune come out with me for a short stint, about 45 minutes. And the first folks that we had a chance to talk to, it was a family. Gentleman was a small business owner, kind of like myself. He was in a consulting type of role with St. Jude Medical, Medtronic, other medical device companies. And we talked about some of the more traditional issues, education, protecting family budgets, roads and bridges. And then I said, we're hearing about this healthcare issue. And he said, yes. He said, you know what, that's going to affect me significantly. I have a family of 4, there's 6 of us, and my premiums right now, I'm paying $1,900 per month, and I can't remember the deductible, but let's say it was $5,000. And he said, it's going to be going up to $2,500 a month, from $1,900 to $2,500, and my deductible, or when I can actually use that, is going to go up to about $8,000, and that's per individual in his family. So here's someone, a very successful working class family, who's having a major impact because of what is occurring in the healthcare market. That's an issue that definitely needs to be addressed, not only in the special session, but certainly in the next legislature. Thank you.
Any questions for Randy? Well, thank you so much for coming out today. We're obviously very excited, and we look forward to the next couple of years and making some progress to really help Minnesotans. So thank you.
Good job.